Now, where is your role in all this? As clear as the scriptures are, that God is about expanding his kingdom from Genesis to Revelation. Right? With Revelation ending with the consummation of his kingdom. The scripture is also very clear that God's kingdom comes through ordinary sinners like you and me. It comes with God's using of the church, using of Christians. And so here is my pastoral plea to encourage each and every single one of you guys to participate actively in the coming years. We've talked about Lord's Day worship, from the worship committee, welcoming committee, to the children's ministry. We've talked about the nurture and women's ministry districts, growth groups. We've talked about the evangelism, all the mission opportunities, the church plan opportunities, the evangelism opportunities. I want you guys to participate in one way or another and step up. The church always needs its members to do God's work. But I think this year, given the transition, we need you guys all the more. It kind of reminds me of in high school, every end of the year, our team, our soccer team, got nervous because the seniors graduated. We're like, those were usually our best players. What's going to happen to them here? What happens the next year? The junior class steps up, fills in those gaps, fills in those shoes that were left behind, and a new class comes in. And in the same way, it is our prayer that everyone really seizes the opportunity and looks at 2011 as a year, boy, I want to be a part of what God's doing. I'm tired of living for myself. I'm tired of living just for my family. I want to be part of something greater than myself. And so, Lord willing, we'll see that expressed through the response. It's still not too late to sign up for the different ministry opportunities. I encourage you to do so.
Which leads us to a couple questions we do want to ask and answer. One is, what about a new pastor? That's the big pink elephant in the room, right? What are we going to do about the pastoral search and pastor? And as Elder Tom talked about the search earlier, if you don't mind joining me, we have two others along with them, Martin and Gower, who are also participating in the search of a new pastor. Now, we do have slides ready to discuss what we're doing, but at the same time, we wanted to use this time to answer any inquiries or questions that you might have.
I won't go through the slides since it's pretty much a repeat, a little more detailed to what I talked about in the announcement. What I do want to ask is Gene Martin to come up just to share his perspective on his expectations, what he's looking for, to get a personal idea, and then I'll go ahead and just get some questions.
For those of you who heard the announcement earlier, Elder Tom was able to talk about the basics of what the process looks like, what our non-negotiables are in terms of what we're looking for in a pastor, and all those things are obviously important. So the things that the committee needs to look at. But obviously, that could be any number of people. But what is it that we're looking for as a committee, and I guess as me as part of that committee, in our next pastor? I don't know, there's obviously a lot of things that we're looking for, but I think for me, one way to summarize it is, I'm looking for a church, I'm looking for a pastor who's going to be able to really personalize church and transform this church. I think the next step for New Life Mission Church is to take this church, which was once so small, which has grown to this tremendous size, and we've had to do growth groups and districts to make things happen, but to bring it back to a personal level. We want a pastor who's going to personally and individually love each and every member of this church and each and every part of this church. Children's ministry, parents, singles, whoever. We don't want the pastor who's going to be able to focus on one thing, or we want him to be able to love each and every personally love each and every part of this church. We also want to look for a pastor who's going to challenge this church, challenge individuals in this church to personally take responsibility as being a part of this vision that we're talking about. That's why that was one of the non-negotiables we talked about earlier. Somebody who's going to inspire the church to embrace that. And that's going to have to happen on an individual level, not just on a theoretical group level, but individually inspire and challenge the church to really embrace what we're doing here. And finally, I'm looking for a pastor who's going to transform each and every one of us in the spirit of evangelism, what we're talking about, to be a participant in the evangelism process, as we, search for a new building, as where we are, to transform the community that we're in, and to actually be a part of the church plants and the missionaries that we're sending off, the Cambodia teams and the Southeast Asia Partnership, to, even though we're all here, to make it real for each and every one of us what we're doing to transform this world for His kingdom. And it sounds like a lot. And I think it's not that we haven't been doing these things in the past, and our old pastors haven't been doing that. But I think in terms of where we are as a church and where we need to go next, for me, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, we've grown in size. I think we've grown tremendously in our understanding of the gospel, but as we've grown in size, we've grown a little more disparate, a little less personal. It's easy for individuals to kind of be lost in size. It's easy for people to be comfortable and not participate in serving or being a part of our mission work or being a part of our vision, generally speaking. And so I'm looking for that next pastor to really bring us together, not only on an individual level, bring us together as a church to do the things that we aspire to do next, not for ourselves, not for our own glory, but for His glory, for His kingdom. So hopefully that gives you guys an idea of this pastoral search process, not just being check marks off a list, but something real personal for what our church needs and wants next.